Trade reports have been escalating for the Toronto Raptors. As we all know, the team has been linked to Damian Lillard, but now we have an update in terms of Scottie Barnes' availability in a potential trade package, so we'll discuss that, including a report that the Toronto Raptors are linked to Giannis Antentokumpo, and we do now have odds in terms of how likely he is to be dealt, at least from an NBA insider. So we'll discuss all of that and more in this video, but before we jump into any of that, we have a very exciting announcement, as this video is brought to you by Rentals.ca, and Rentals.ca is Canada's largest apartment hunting network. You can rent houses, condos, apartments, whatever it is, you can find it on Rentals.ca all across the country, no matter where you are, what city. You can use their website. It's extremely clean. It's extremely easy to use. You just pinpoint the exact neighborhood you're looking to rent in, and Rentals.ca has you covered with the most potential listings in their network to find you the best possible space. And they're also giving back to you folks as well, as they're doing a massive giveaway. If you checked out the description or the pinned comment of this video, you have the chance to enter a competition and win a month's free rent. That's right, a month's free rent up to $2,500. If you're over the age of 18, you have a rental listing, you're not in Quebec, and you want some free cash, a free month's rent, sign up for that link. So shout out to Rentals.ca for supporting the channel and supporting you guys with this, delivering all the rentals and also this competition. But folks, let's dive into the news, because it's been wild over the past 24 hours as we have a Scottie Barnes Damian Lillard trade update. Now, the Damian Lillard drama, it's spiked over the past week or so. We heard a report come out last week where they basically said, hey, the trade offers with training camp around the corner, they're amping up, and we've heard things all across the league. But Dame is still adamant about wanting to go to Miami Heat, but then we heard the mystery team that in the Eastern Conference that could make a play, and it was a reveal that that team was the Toronto Raptors. And, you know, reports coming out left, right, and center, then Dame and his squad sort of throwing shade on Dennis Schroeder. So it's been a whole wild scenario. But one common player, one common piece that has been thrown out in a bunch of Damian Lillard packages, at least from the trade proposals I've seen across, Twitter, across Reddit, and all this sort of stuff, ends up having Scottie Barnes end up going to the Portland Trailblazers. And as a Raptors fan, I've been pretty adamant that I don't want Scottie Barnes involved in any Damian Lillard trade. Yes, it would be really exciting, especially if we could keep Gary Trent Jr. to have a starting lineup of Dame, of Gary, of OG, of Pascal, of Jakob Poeltl. But given the performance of the team last season, losing Scottie Barnes and then also losing Fred VanVleet, replacing him with a 33-year-old Damian Lillard, it's not something that I'm that excited about, that amped up about. Sure, we'd definitely be better right now as just this immediate season, but we'd be mortgaging our future, which would be extremely tough. We'd have a lot of contracts to pay for next season, so it would be messy. And Zach Lowe came out and eased some of the Raptors fans' sort of fears in terms of Scottie Barnes getting dealt, as basically he came out and said, I don't think Toronto would consider moving Scottie Barnes in a Damian Lillard trade. So that's coming from Zach Lowe. He's outright saying Scottie Barnes isn't going to be involved in a trade, at least from his opinion, from his insider take, which I think should be the unanimous decision, at least amongst the Toronto Raptors front office, team, and just fan base in general. Yes, it would be great to land Damian Lillard. I mean, you look at his stats, the man is a beast. The man is a monster, right? 32 points per game, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 37% from the three-point line, gets buckets in a hurry on a team where the Toronto Raptors does struggle with shooting a little bit. I mean, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam's a solid shooter for the 4 position. Poeltl can't really knock down the 3, but if you threw in Damian Lillard, we wouldn't have that. We'd be a really nice shooting team at that point, replacing Lillard with Scottie Barnes, obviously bench pieces and stuff. But Scottie Barnes, while his numbers aren't close to what Damian Lillard's sort of producing, this past year, obviously fills up the rest of the stat sheet a lot better. 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3-point percentage is definitely down low, as I was sort of alluding to, but the future, right? Like 33 years old for Damian Lillard, a guy that wants to play in Miami, has been adamant that he wants to play in Miami. It doesn't seem like it makes sense for the Raptors to give up their formerly Rookie of the Year prospect going into his 3rd season, the position where it's the most impactful in the entire NBA, that big wing. Those are the types of players that win you playoff series and heck, win you NBA championships. So not saying Scottie Barnes will be a 1A championship player just yet, but it's tough to give up that type of asset for a dude that doesn't want to be here. is expensive and is old, even no matter how good Damian Lillard is. So that's sort of the route. That's sort of what I'm expecting. And we've also heard reports. I should have brought up the screenshot, but basically, reports also come out that other teams outside of the Miami Heat haven't been offering up the best packages for Damian Lillard. So it doesn't seem like Scottie Barnes in a deal would allude to as not great package going back to Portland. So I'd be surprised, I'd be shocked if Scottie Barnes was involved in any Damian Lillard trade. So I'd agree with Zach Lowe and his take there in his report. But next thing we're taking a look at is the Raptors once again linked to Giannis Antetokumpo. Now, I need to update the Giannis watch animation because Giannis is once again talking about his future, talking about free agency, and Raptors fans are getting hyped a bit. You know, we've covered on this channel for years Masai Ujiri and Giannis' relationship, Giannis' high praise for the city of Toronto, all that type of stuff. Well, now with his recent comments talking about how he wants to win a championship in the future, and the Bucks having kind of aging players around him, that core in Milwaukee is still very solid, very good, but Drew Holiday's talked about wanting to retire in the next couple seasons. Chris Middleton's dealt with some serious injuries. Brook Lopez is in the renaissance of his career. Whoever performed Brook Lopez's recent back surgery deserves a raise by $10 million, whatever Brook Lopez's contract is, but still, they're an aging team, and they don't have a lot of sort of young players that to get Bucks fans really excited about the future of their team. So Giannis has even discussed about how he's willing to leave. He wants to go to a place where he can win some NBA championships. So, pretty well every other team in the NBA is hopeful that they could potentially land the multi-time MVP, NBA champion, all that type of stuff. Well, seems like the Raptors are once again linked in all these rumors. It's basically teams expected to monitor Giannis, come from ESPN, monitor Giannis Antetokounmpo's situation closely are the Pelicans, the Raptors, the Brooklyn Nets, the New York Knicks, and the Golden State Warriors. So 5 teams. I'm sure there's more teams that would be monitoring this closely if they had the opportunity to get him. But once again, the Toronto Raptors are linked to Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it's we got excited in 2021. We got hyped up. We were amped. The potential pairing of Kawhi, Giannis, could it all work out? What would happen? And yes, it would have been awesome for that to happen. Giannis ended up winning a championship with the Bucks and stuff, but the Raptors aren't in a position where they're as attractive as they were back in sort of the 2021 offseason, the 2020 year, right? Coming off the 2020 season, the Toronto Raptors took the Boston Celtics in the second round to Game 7 to the brink, and my opinion would have beat the Miami Heat in the conference finals. I've been roasted about that take in videos, so I won't dive into that any further, but the Toronto Raptors had a really nice, strong young nucleus. They had a lot of vets, and Giannis inserting himself into a squad where the year prior had Kawhi Leonard and won an NBA championship, right? It was a very attractive destination, so there's reasons to get your hopes up, but right now, where the Toronto Raptors are currently at, where their star right now is Scottie Barnes, who isn't that complimentary of Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, neither of them are great shooters or slashers. They need the ball in their hands, all that type of stuff. But, it doesn't seem like we're as nice of a fit for Giannis or have the pieces around the team in terms of how Giannis would actually have to get here. We'd have to give up some pieces in order to acquire him. But it doesn't really make sense, the current fit for Giannis, and the fact that we probably wouldn't be that much better than the Milwaukee Bucks as currently constructed in terms of what we'd have to give up to acquire Giannis. It doesn't really make sense as a potential destination at this point. And Brian Windhorst also recently said that basically that he believes it's 50-50 at best that Giannis Antetokounmpo stays in Milwaukee after his contract ends. So maybe it's a possibility the Raptors get him in that 50% chance. Maybe we have an X percent. Depends on how the Toronto Raptors really perform this season, in my opinion. So we'll see what ends up happening, but we get our hopes up. We're amped up about potential trades. This entire summer has been a big tease for Toronto Raptors fans, and not a great one because the rumored trades haven't been that great, but also Brian Windhorst brought up a really interesting stat, basically saying in the last 3 seasons, the Toronto Raptors are dead last in transactions done, which it's not because, I feel like a team like the Milwaukee Bucks would make sense as a team that doesn't have many transactions. Their core is great. They're locked into players. The Raptors have had a very incomplete roster for the past few seasons, 3 years, and the fact that we're dead last in sort of transactions is indicative of what the organization's philosophy has sort of been. So, maybe they're saving up for a big swing, a big hit. They don't want to do any kind of minor moves that just, keep us at a plateau. If they're making a move, they want to sort of win it, but I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening. stay tuned to the Raptors Digest if you guys want to stay up to date with everything regarding this Toronto Raptors team. Do you think a big move will end up going down? Let me know in the comment section below. But subscribe to the channel. Check out the rentals.ca competition down the links below. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.